Good morning. How you guys doing? This Mike back with the dawn of the day on March 26, 2025. First, I want to give honor and praise to the Elohim of Israel for giving me the strength and the wisdom to bring you this message. Then I'd like to open with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. May your will, not mine, be done. Today, I want to talk about the transformation from having knowledge of God to a seared conscience to a reprobate mind. From knowledge of God, then you develop a seared conscience, and then you develop a reprobate mind. So let's start with the definitions. Knowledge of God to me was, I knew that God existed, but I didn't have the spirit in me. I didn't operate under the spirit. I just knew that there was a God, and I know I could go to him when I get in desperate situations. I could call on him and ask him to help me out. And when he always did, but when he usually helped me out, I usually went back to what I was doing that got me in trouble in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So we got that definition out the way. What is the knowledge of God? Now let's go to a seared conscience. It says a seared conscience refers to a state where a person's sense of wrong and right has been dulled or damaged, often through repeated wrongdoing, leading to loss of sensitivity to guilt or remorse. You know what I'm saying? So that's the seared conscience. Now let's go to the reprobate mind. Refers to a state of moral or spiritual corruption where someone is so focused on sin and self-interest that they are incapable of recognizing or choosing good and are left to their own depraved inclinations, their own depraved inclinations. I bear witness to that whole transformation, man. You know what I'm saying? I remember back in 2009, I went through the tragic situation I went through, and around 2011, I got a phone call from my attorney. You know what I'm saying, Ron Venturi. And Ron, he saw that I was upset, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Man, I can't go on living like this with this fear of going to jail with all of this stuff over my head, man." And up to that point, I had a knowledge of God. I knew God existed, and I was praying to God for him to solve this case. And he wouldn't solve the case. So I did have a knowledge of God. And at that point, that's when I started going on all these different dating sites, Plenty of Fish, Black People Meet, Black Planet, things of that nature. And I turned my life over. I turned my back on God, and I turned my life over into more alcoholism and fornication, because the sin and the instant gratification helped me escape what I was feeling at the time. And at that time, I saw my transformation go from knowledge of God to a seared conscience, because at first I was still feeling kind of bad about what I was doing, but then it got to the point to where I didn't feel bad about what I was doing in that sense of life, in terms of the fornication and the alcoholism and stuff. I felt like God understood because of the circumstances that I was under. That's how twisted my mind was. But at that point, I was in a seared conscience. You know what I mean? But as I started to go deeper and deeper into this lifestyle, I started to love it. And then at that point, that's all I thought about throughout the day when I woke up in the morning. That's all I thought about. And at that point, I had went into a reprobate mind. And the dangerous part about having a reprobate mind is that that's what my whole focus and that's what all my attention was on. And two things could happen, in my opinion, in that situation. Either the Most High is going to let you go on to your destruction because he done warned you so many times through all those other stages, or he's going to dump you on your head and get your attention. And as the years went on and the reprobated mind intensified, he dumped me on my head, and he had to get my attention. You know what I'm saying? So if there's people out there that's going through these stages of a knowledge of God, then you go to a seared conscience, then you go to a reprobated mind, please be cautious, man, to understand. Because when we look around us, it's a lot of people a lot of things going on, and you can see people that's operate in a reprobate mind, where no matter what you say to them, it's not even registering. The whole intent is to cause harm and to cause pain and to seek the lust of the world, to go out and do whatever you want to do at any time. It don't matter at all. And that's when they're operating in the reprobate mind. So even when you're trying to talk to people and counsel them, or you're trying to talk to people and tell them about the Most High and different things of that nature, you got to be able to understand when you're talking to somebody or dealing with somebody that has a reprobated mind. All you could do is maybe drop a seed. It's up to the Most High to change that person, if he feels that they can help his kingdom. Because if he feels that they are in no need and he tried too many times, that's when he usually wipes his hands of the situation. And they go. But I just wanted to share that. That was on my spirit, going from a knowledge of God to a seared conscience to a reprobated mind. This is Mike. Enjoy the rest of your day. Shalom.